this is another side effect. The sensory perception of fight or flight combat is heightened on purpose. This is something that is done to tie in with solar plexus magic to force a person to start tricking themselves into believing that something happened, using their own senses. Like, for some reason their senses of their breathing is heightened, so they think that they're hearing things, but it's like their own nose whistling or something. This is the type of thing where hypersensitivity causes someone to be so repeatedly on edge each day, while all of these other symptoms could be occurring through the magic that's being done on them, that they really have no choice but to ask themselves if there's something wrong with them. That's what the magic tries to accomplish. That's what this tries to do. And the reason why it doesn't work is because people eventually have someone, thank God, if they're lucky enough, to come along to them and say, listen, I think this is a spiritual issue and not a physical issue. A person who is really trying to defend them will ask, hey, are you spiritually attuned to what could be happening to you, instead of worrying about, whether or not it's a therapy issue. A person will actually go into that and like ask questions about that. And there's also the solar plexus chakra attacks happen, to get into that part of it. They happen between 8:30 a.m. and around 11:45 a.m. You're going to notice that someone attacking your solar plexus chakra wants you to feel like you have no freedom of movement without them always watching you, always knowing where you are, always knowing something about your whereabouts, always knowing where to find you, and always knowing just when to jump into the picture when you certainly did not want them there. So it's just very, very obnoxious behavior that that needs to be sorted out. But that's exactly it. Like, that's what happens. So it's something that has to do with the intuition being botched from sacral chakra magic and root magic having an impact on that, and then pushing the person into a state of frenzied hyper-awareness to act on paranoia without fact-based grounding and exercises of intuitive reasoning. So basically, this person is then pushed into a position where they are not actually in touch with what it is that is happening with their own body, let alone what's happening around them. It's a type of spiritual blindness that's taking effect here that is highly detrimental and very caustic to the person. And the reason these attacks occur is because if they don't occur, the person has a chance of kind of stumbling back into awareness and saying, oh my God, I'm being attacked. What do? I have to seek help. And then they might be able to seek some help with something. But this is very disparaging for the person who's on the receiving end of these attacks, because they're not being honored as a person of free will. They're literally being roped around like a dog on a leash that's being abused, and people are laughing at this because a lot of people do magic to manipulate someone and make them feel powerless in order for themselves to feel powerful. But they couldn't be powerful if this is what they chose to do with themselves. It's as simple as that. If you have to abuse someone to feel powerful, you are weaker than them. You are weaker than a lot of people. So we also have grounding being an issue. Solar plexus chakra magic will create a lot of grounding issues for people, where they feel like they need to kind of settle into their own bodies and figure out where they're going with their life and whatever. And then there's also meandering, moving around, or thinking, but having no proof of concept, regardless of how much energy is expended about this. It's really serious when you are literally trying to form your own thoughts and your thoughts seem to almost disappear in your own mind. This is because someone is actually and physically making external enforced behaviors of yours disappear. They want you and your freedom of choice, your freedom of thought, and your freedom of movement to be under their control. So they make your mind disappear that information. They fizzle your ideas out to nothing. They create disparaging emotional environments so you feel distracted, pulled aside, and constantly barraged by small and insignificant events instead of being able to see the bigger picture of your formulated thoughts and processes. hypersensitivity